This is John Clay, sports columnist for the Lexington Herald-Leader, along with Josh Moore, UK football beat writer for the Herald-Leader. It's just after Kentucky's tough 29-21 loss to Florida here at Kroger Field. Kentucky led 21-10 going into the fourth quarter. Florida came back. Kentucky some missed opportunities, a lot of plays, as Mark Stoops talked about after the game. What a disappointing loss, no doubt about it. Josh, what were your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's after beating them last year, it's kind of return to form for UK fans. It's kind of the last few there's a stretch. I think 3 of the last 4 losses to Florida now have been a single-digit margin and really come down to the last play in a lot of cases. And they had a chance. I mean, they got the ball back there after that late touchdown, which it's obviously a really unbelievable chance, but it's still an opportunity to try to tie it up there at the end. But really, I think the inability to score going down the stretch was huge. That 4th and 1 stop to open the fourth quarter there was really pivotal, because you want that momentum. You've got everybody excited. The crowd's jacked up going in that final period, and then you don't even get close to converting that 4th down. I mean, you're like 2 or 3 yards shy there. So it's a really disappointing night. I think a lot of the guys talked about not letting this linger. That's probably going into this week the biggest thing you got to worry about, especially with some guys that'll at least one guy that won't be available in the first half down there at Mississippi State and TJ Carter, and then having some injury concerns going into that one also.
Yeah, talking about T.J. Carter, obviously 2 targeting calls really hurt Kentucky. They lost Yusef Corker early in the game. He's their best safety, probably their best safety. Mark Stoops talked about they also had another injury in the secondary later on in the game, and they were kind of handcuffed going down the stretch when Florida's backup quarterback came in, Trask, for Felipe Franks, who got hurt. Kentucky was, I think that affected them at the secondary play. Trask did a really good job coming in and leading Florida back against Kentucky secondary, and obviously the targeting call against T.J. Carter there in the fourth quarter of UK. It turned what was going to be a sack and a long 3rd down situation. You had the personal foul penalty, plus Carter was ejected. Those 2 targeting calls really hurt Kentucky.
Oh, absolutely. And really, I think, in the long, the Carter one, stunk from a sense of you lose your starter there on the defensive line, but
in the situation,
and just in the situation and everything. But I really think going back to the first quarter, Corker, it wasn't the game wasn't 2 or 3 plays old.
Right.
And he goes, your best, your top safety goes out. And
especially when the secondary was the big question mark coming in this game with Florida, with Franks throwing the ball, a young secondary, and to lose him, like you say, so early in the game.
And when you benefit a little bit maybe when a backup quarterback comes in, because unfortunately Franks suffers some sort of leg injury. I don't know yet if we know what that is, but he suffers a leg injury late in the 3rd quarter, and you bring in a backup, but he's going up against some backup guys in the defensive secondary that are, and really in backups to backups, and in the case of when you get down to the safety position, it's kind of so you'll get Corker back down there next week. That'll be huge, because Mississippi State, I don't know if you saw earlier, they brought in a backup, so who knows what you'll be doing with that backup, with the quarterback down there. So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out and how they adjust to that depth. Secondaries, it's just until they can gel together and really string together some weeks of consistent play where they stop some guys. This is 3 weeks in a row now. They've been really, not very good.
Right, which was not all that unexpected, considering the youth coming into the year. But yeah, that's a good point. Kentucky now goes on the road. They go to Mississippi State on Saturday, then they go to South Carolina after that. So it'll be interesting with this young team how Mark Stoops gets them back up after a disappointing loss. Obviously, Chance Poore missing the field goal, that hurt. First time redshirt freshman, he was in that situation. A 35-yarder, obviously a makeable field goal, but he missed the field goal, that hurts. How can Mark get the team back up to go on the road for 2 very important SEC road games?
Absolutely, it's tough, and you have some elder statesmen on the team. Not really, unfortunately, not in the places where you're seeing your performance issues for the most part. But you do have a lot of guys on the O-line. I thought the O-line still. That's 3 games in a row. They played fantastic. You can't, they probably could have done some better things in the run blocking and some of those late conversion plays. But really, I think across the overall, another outstanding game for the offensive line. You've got I think they affected Franks the whole game, and
Yeah.
really, I mean, and they kind of simplified things a little bit more when everything happened with the backup quarterback and all the the ejections, and so it kind of you saw a lot of good stuff there though from the defense for a while, and really, I mean, it's really a 1-point loss,
Right.
in the
That last touchdown was kind of almost a tack on.
and against the number 9 team in the nation. I mean, and the guys talked about in the locker room, this, no moral victories here, and then that's, you want to hear that, but it's still, you don't have a lot of respect as a program if you're Kentucky. You played Florida again to a final, single-digit margin. I think there's a lot of positives that can be taken away from it. It's obviously stings right now, and I'm sure a lot of those guys in the locker room are pretty angry.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But be sure and check out all of our coverage on Kentucky.com, and in the print edition of the Lexington Herald-Leader, we'll have plenty of coverage leading up to the Mississippi State game next Saturday.